Sorry, man. No, it wasn't. I'll never do that again. It came out. Then he said, okay. Okay. Oh, so you don't do that. No, it's my first time. Okay. Listen, let me do this. I'll see you. I'll call you. Don't call me. I'll call you. And that's it. That's the end of the relationship. But I know some of us are like, it was a mistake, Shem. It was a mistake. I think I provoked him. Come on. This is an indication. Do you know the most painful thing is that you get married to this person and he does this thing, you are not shocked, you know. You say, this is what he used. I thought it was just a mistake, it will come to an end. But you know. God does not allow his children to get into such suffocating relationships without warning them. And even your friends, for that matter. They'll tell you, hey, this thing is not good for you. I mean, they tell you. I mean, God uses them. They see, they said, and the guy says, and then, you know what he does? Once she does, she breaks the relationship with you to have this one. She sacrifices the relationship. I mean, from childhood. We've known each other from childhood. You just met this guy just last month and you're prepared to sacrifice your relationship with us. Then there's something wrong. And the other guy says, your friends, I think they want to, you see, now you know you're getting in an abusive relationship. So he cuts all the relationships that you had so that you can just be with him. Make sure you don't go with anyone. You're always there and then you know you're in trouble. That's the addictive part. And we can come up with, we can think of all kinds of, I mean, as I'm speaking now, you can imagine someone you know that was once in this thing. And it could be you. Maybe you are still in that thing now. You don't know how to get out because you're getting so much from that relationship. I was saying to one guy recently, I said, listen, I don't know how to put this. We'll put it nice so that it doesn't break him. He says, I've done this for this person. I've done this for this person. I've done this. I've sacrificed. I've done this. I said, you know what? And now, this is what she's doing. I say, you know why she's doing that? Because she doesn't need it. She can live without it. All that you were doing, she's fine. That's why she's breaking the relationship. But the problem here is you are not fine. And yet you're the one sacrificing. Why is it that you are not fine? Because you should be actually pitying her that, hey, I wonder who's going to take care of her. I'm worried because I was doing all these things for her. So you should be worried that now she's not going to get that because you were giving that to her. But you are the one who's breaking all over. We have to collect you. I said, but why are you suffering like that? I said, you know why you are suffering like that? Because when you were giving so much into that relationship, you were getting more. And this person knew that you were doing this, not because you loved her, but because you loved doing that. It meant so much to you. It sort of fulfilled some need that you may not be aware of. And the person can pick that up. That when you do so much for me, it's not for me. It's for you. It gives you meaning. In church, those of you who are in church, never give so much to the church that it actually gives you meaning. Because when the church stops to appreciate, you will leave the church. And I've heard people say, after all the things I've done for them, you know that piano? I bought that piano. I did that. What were you trying to do when we were doing that? What were you trying to do? Now the church has turned against me. And the church is doing this, is doing that, is doing this. They're not grateful. I'll never go to that church again. Sit at home. I've sacrificed my car. I will take them there. I'm not saying don't do those things. But sit down. In the midst of doing those things, ask yourself, to whom am I rendering this? And so Paul's word in Colossians, is it 3:23? Whatever you do, do it to God and not to man. Because God, as Paul puts it, He will reward you, not to men, because we may not. And this person felt like he was not. I said, if you're sponsoring a relationship for your own sake, it may be too much on the person. The person may be receiving whatever, but the day he's fine without that, he'll drop you. You can be sure of that. You can be sure of that. I've said to, and people don't listen to those things, but I'm going to say them. Because when they come crying, then I can remind them. I've said to some people, listen, if you have a boyfriend, don't talk forever on the phone. Cut it while you are enjoying it. Teach yourself that, listen, I've got other things that are more important than me talking to you. Sorry, I have to go. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, I have to cut that thing. Yeah. So you think you're romantic? I couldn't sleep. I've been thinking of you the whole night. That's terrible. All right. Now let's pack that. Let me give you another extreme. Then we're going to see if we can find some functional way of relating to people. Then there's this one where people are afraid of relationships. You see, you've got addiction here. Then you've got another one. They don't want to do anything with relationship. They don't trust anyone. Me, I'm a loner. I don't work with anyone. Me and my books, that's all. Just give me my books, I'm fine. Sit there with my books and my music. Sit there, I don't care. These are the guys you see at the beach there, when everybody's with others, they're just alone with their books. And then they can quote verses. It's me and Jesus. Like Enoch, walk with God alone. But if you read that statement, Enoch was just walking with God. And that walk, Ellen Joy says, it was not like as if he was in a trance. He was there in the social life of people. He was there at work. He was there. He was with people. So don't get excited and think you're like Enoch. You're not like Enoch. We are so unlike Enoch. So you've got that group that I would say they are allergic to relationship. I just bought a book. I thought I was going to show you. Oh my goodness, I left my thing. I thought I was going to show you. I'm just going through it. It says men disconnected. It's addressing males. And it argues that we're reaching a stage, written from an American perspective, it argues that we are reaching a stage where men, but in our setting it also affects us, where men are actually finding comfort in being disconnected. They don't want relationships. They don't want commitment. They're just there by themselves. And there are all kinds of reasons why we're reaching that stage. It's getting more and more and more. That they're disconnected academically, that it's being shown in most countries that they're men, we are getting less and less men who are in intellectual environment, that women are feeling more of that space than men. Men cannot cope intellectually for some reason, one reason or another. I've heard women and ladies in the church saying, yeah, it's just unfinished. There are no men in the church. They feel like they're there, they preach, but whatever. But when you chat with them, you can't connect. You can't have an intelligent conversation. They're just empty. I'm not saying every man is like that. Are you with me? But they're just, I mean, you guys are not like that. You know that. You guys are top notch. But there's a feeling that, and sometimes you get that these guys they're okay. They dress nicely. I mean, they dress nicely and walk, and they may even be singing in a quartet. But the conversation there's nothing. There's no content. You feel like, what am I doing here? Who am I talking to? I mean, there's nothing that you can really. Yeah, there's opening of the mouth and saying of whatever, but there's nothing. And sometimes because, he says, at least he doesn't beat me, let me marry him. But then it hits you back later on. For that, I've got no partner, I've got no companion. I just have a husband. But we can't log in, we can't check in and be there together. So there are all kinds of reasons why that is happening. I'm not going to get into that. But the studies are beginning to show that the environment is actually creating a situation where people are actually finding comfort in being disconnected. I mean, you look at Facebook and all these other things. Want to friend you, but he's not your friend. You got like so many people, but those are not your friends. You communicate. I mean, people are always in the chat and chatting, but they're not talking at home. There's no conversation between the son and the father, like talking in the real life situation. People are running away from the real life situation. They're hiding in the cyber world, and all they're doing is chatting on the whatever, chatting, but they can't have a real conversation. They can't sustain a real conversation where they're talking. You see, when you hide behind that, and it comes in many forms, you can never be disappointed. I mean, you can always control that. You can shut this off. You can just mute that one, or what's the other one? Yeah? Unfriend or block. You can always block the one you don't like. But how do you block me? I mean, how do you block me? How are you going to block me? It's going to be very fun to block me, So you can just, there you vote, and that's it. Silence that one. I mean, you are in control, and people are beginning to enjoy that world. In Japan, I read an article, in Japan, marriage and getting married, and the whole sexual life, because some of you are not married here, and the whole sexual life, it's no big deal. Nobody's interested in it. They're too busy. Too busy for that kind of thing. So once you have in other countries, like sex is the thing that everybody dreams about whenever they close their eyes. But in Japan, no. In Japan, it's not a big thing. Oh, you're busy. I have no time for that. I'm too busy. All right? And it is a fast-paced world. You have no time to be chatting. And actually, I was reading that in some of these places, they even have, now you have a relationship. And then there's an app that you can download. I can't remember the name of the app. It's good I don't remember, so that you don't have to download it. It has all these things. You can schedule what this app should send to your friend. So you put and then you just say, I miss you, man, it's good to, it's just send those things. You don't have to be sending that. It just sends it for you at a certain time. What were you doing, whatever. Schedule all the things that people want to hear. The whole program there, you can schedule it and then send it periodically. I don't know whether it responds, whatever. But that's the world we live in. People are disconnected, and they enjoy that. We're beginning to see people delaying getting married because they enjoy their space for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's wrong, but they just enjoy. Sometimes you enjoy your space because what you are doing is more important than having a relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not sitting in a bus stop waiting for somebody. You're enjoying your life, and sometimes you feel like, listen, I think what I have is good. It's fine. It's not because there's something wrong with me. Paul and others, Paul said it. There are others who are gifted in that. But I'm not talking about the gifted ones. I'm talking about the ones who are living in a cyber world where there's no reality, where there's no life, and they're finding life out of that. Let me just share it here with us here, because we're talking about relationship. And one of the factors that they've raised that contributes to that is pornography. That people don't see the reason why they should have real life and real friendship and real contact and intimate friends. Because pornography can just give it to you and safe in your office, in your house, whatever. And that's it. You get satisfaction and you're done. Don't need of relationship. I don't need to be disappointed. I don't need to be worried about this and that. I'm in my own world. So there's a lot that the world is giving from a Christian perspective that the devil is throwing out there to destroy even this God-given aspect of our lives that also thrives in relationships. So There is, being created in the image of God must have something to do also with the ability to have relationships. I don't want to put it so strong as the need to love, but this thing that I can love and be loved, and that's normal. When that is killed, it sort of reduces your humanity, if I could put it, humanness, the image of God to some sort of extent. Now, if you read psychology and other books, they will give you reasons why people are suffering from this, are getting into this, like this one I just mentioned. On the obsession side, then they'll say this person probably grew in a family where he was deficient, relationship deficient. They were not, he was not he's coming from a background where there were no functional relationships. He is longing for a father he never had, or a mother he never had. So the moment he links up, connects with you, and he has got things to make sure that he can manipulate and manage the relationship. So he stays right there. He feels fulfilled, all kinds of things. This is what I've been looking for. You are more to him than just a girlfriend or a wife. It's more. And that more is killing to you because you just want to be the wife. You don't want to be the mother you never had, You don't want to. I just want, please, let me just, because even that one is tough as it is. So I don't want more. But the more is not like it's spelled out. You feel it, that there's more that this person is expecting or getting or assuming, whatever. And that could be because, like I said, relationship deficiency of some kind, as you grow up. Abusive relationships as well. I'm going to stop now, and then I'll give you a chance to breathe, and then we will look at the solution together. Here's another one. Abusive relationship. Do you know that a child growing in a relationship, let's give a scenario here, just an illustration. A child growing in a relationship where the mother is abused by the father, or it could be the other way around. You never get that relationship. I mean, the relationship between your mother and your father has a positive impact on, if it's good, has a positive impact. It impacts on you. Just them relating, it does something to you. It brings you up. It builds you up. But when that relationship is poisonous or toxic, it destroys you as well. I'm not even talking about what they are doing to you, directly or indirectly. No. I'm just what they do to each other affects the child. What the parent and the mother does to each other affects the child in ways that you cannot imagine. So this child growing up in that relationship, he looks at the father. Now let's say she's a girl. She looks at the father and says, here's the thing. She loves the father, and the father is abusive. But she loves the father. That's my father. And the father is not abusive to her, abusive to the mother. But she loves the father. But she gets confused now. The person I love is doing something I don't love. Now, you don't know how that thing affects, unless a miracle happens, and those do happen. You don't know how it affects her. One, she may say, I wish my father could stop doing that. And she may fail in doing that. And then when she's at a stage where she must get married, you know what happens? She goes for the person who's like her father. You know why? Because she meets this guy who's rough. Like, hey, if you don't come, I'll leave you. But this guy just reminds her of her father. And that's the father she loved. All of her, she falls in love. I said, wow. She doesn't know, it's just like, there are reasons why we love the people we love, by the way. She just says, wow. She doesn't know, this reminds me of somebody. It's like you see your father. But then there's something in your heart, in your mind that says, and you may not even be able to articulate it, Now I have a chance to change him. What I wanted to do to my father, now I will do to this man when I marry him. When I marry him, I'll make sure that he doesn't. So when you succeed in doing that, in your mind you'll be like, I've changed my father, because now you're marrying your father. Honestly, you are marrying your father. Yeah. But do you know, on a positive side, and I've seen this, I mean, this is not research or anything close to that. I mean, these are all our friends. They are all praying. They all go to church. They all fast. But why do you love that one? Why do you love that one? Because that one reminds me of my mother. But you may not know that. But there's something you just get attracted to that person. I mean, they are all here. You can look at them and say, but this one, oh man, I don't know, but there's something about this one. I looked at some people, and you look at the girl, you look at the wife the person marries, you go look at the mother, you see some resemblance. Have you noticed that? I mean, not always. You say, okay, I see. But you get so in other words, he looked at her, it just reminded him of my mother, whom I love so much. And even when she smiles, there's something about her smile. That smile is a smile I was exposed to growing up as a child. It is just here, it has made me. So when I see that smile, something just warms in me. And I say, I think I love that person. I must marry that person. That's not wrong. But what makes it terrible is when it's an abusive thing now. It's not just a smile or whatever. So even emotionally, you marry the person that looks like the person who was emotionally abusing you. Coming from a dysfunctional relationship, you end up forming one. You end up also getting yourself into that kind of a relationship. So those of us who are married, just make sure that you give your child a good start in life by creating good environment of good relationship. Furniture and other things are not as important as those things. You can buy those later. Just focus on the relationships and make sure that your child will not be unnecessarily exposed to addictive relationships. But we're going to look at the solution and how we can deal with that and think about these things and see how far we can go. We left it to a minute or two for a break, and then we're going to have another session. Any questions?